Well, hello. That's me again. I hope so. I'm not too loud. And let's start from the start, so to speak. Today is the 17th of August. It's Wednesday, I reckon. And let's start with this. Here is the address, so to speak, or response, if you wish, from my previous video in regards to people, and there are many of them, including on my blog and in the discussion board to the previous video about Europeans, and many of them are Europeans and absolutely wonderful people, and I like them a lot, and I like their reaction, which is, and they are somewhat correct when they say, oh, please don't, so to speak, paint with the broad brush, over all those Europeans. By far not all of us hate Russia and the Russians, and I agree. I never stated that all Europeans hate Russians. Absolutely. I have many friends and contacts in Europe who are wonderful people. Germans, French, and what have you. Wonderful people. But, as you can see yourself, this is 2017 Sputnik, which of course is the subdivision of RIA News and Sputnik Radio. They conducted in 2017 their poll, which had a very simple question to people in France, Great Britain, Germany, and Poland. And the question sounds like this: is Russia part of Europe? And guess what? The only people who really think that Russians are really Europeans are people from Poland. 77% of them stated absolutely positively that Russians are Europeans, 3% kind of neither here nor there, and 20% were say that no, Russians are not Europeans, and it's understandable. And while I by no means endorse here the accuracy of this poll, it definitely provides the good sense of a trend. Then we go to Germany. And then at that time, Germans stated that 49% of Germans stated that Russians are Europeans. And believe me, out of those 49%, majority, I'm pretty sure, came from the Eastern Germany. And of course, 46% said that they are not, and 5% said, well, we don't know. Well, then we go to UK. Only 35% say that Russians are Europeans. Then you go to France, and they say it's only 29% people in France think that Russians are Europeans. And that is a very good indicator, and I think so those numbers about yes, that Russia is part of Europe, which already in minority anyway, sometimes significantly small minority if you wish, they probably decreased even more, and majority of, especially people crucial, so to speak, or pivotal nations of Europe, as we know it, as UK, Germany, and France, fewer of them are now thinking that Russians and Russia is a part of Europe, especially. So, while definitely there is no doubt that anti-Russian Russophobic propaganda has its impact on people, but truth is, historically Russians are not viewed by Europeans as Europeans, so, and let's leave it at that. We can certainly discuss ramifications and implications of all that, but I'm, as you saw yourself, I mean, I am a very simple guy. I operate most of the time with numbers, not with the emotions, although sometimes I can have my, obviously, some people think that what I say is rant. No, I seldom do rants, believe me. If I'll do ranting, my gosh, you will know what I'm doing. So, in this case, let's put this to rest, and if anybody wants to study this topic furthermore, and just look up, all latest polls, if you can find them, about defining Russians as Europeans, and believe me, I can guarantee you 100% that majority of Europeans do not view, especially Western Europe, they do not view Russians as Europeans. And so let's stay at this. And let's leave it at that. Now, to the huge issue, a very important issue. And this issue is this. Russia yesterday. Well, actually, it opened before that, but for 2 days, the Russian exposition called Army 2022, having primarily for the journalists and professionals. And yesterday, I believe, or today, well, very recently, it opened for the general public, but already this photograph makes rounds all over the internet, because guess what? As you can see yourself, there is one model of the strategic missile submarine, which is on the background. It is, of course, well known to us Barret class, Barret A class, which is Project 955A. But then, guess what? You see in the front the model of the submarine, which created a huge fuss already in the professional circles. And this one is actually called Arktur. I thought it was kind of some derivative of Husky or something like that, and we'll talk about this, but no, it's Arktur. In this particular configuration, it is shown as a strategic missile submarine, and only with 12 tubes, and also carrying some kind of the bizarre looking, almost futuristic drone. And nobody knows what this drone is. It has a name, I don't remember it now. You can look it up. It's all available on internet today. But look at this sub. And immediately, as you might expect, everybody jumped on it. The drive, all those, circle jerk, military toys guys in the Anglosphere. And one of them is, of course, Mr. H.I. Sutton. I don't know who he is. There's nothing about his biography except for that, oh yeah, he writes about submarines, all those high-tech and things of this nature, and he is supposedly the observer of the Russian submarine development, but for some reason he passes for the big-time expert. And I'm not saying nothing. I mean, I periodically looked up his work and his H.I. Sutton website, and yeah, he just follows and publishes general technical data, speculates a little bit, but most of it is not necessarily too bad. So, but I don't know who he is. But evidently he is an authority somehow. But whatever he is and whoever he is, he immediately reacts. And he publishes in Naval News today this Russia reveals radical new stealth missile submarine. To his credit, he obviously begins to explain for people that all submarines are stealth. And yeah, this stealth term is so abused, is so profoundly hipster, and it's so inapplicable, generally speaking, that yeah, at least he has enough, guts to explain that it's all bullshit. All submarines are basically stealth. But look what he writes about it. Well, he writes about those 12 tubes, why it is 12 tubes, because of the development of the sea-launched strategic missiles, strategic missiles, which are becoming much more powerful, much more precise, and things of this nature, which is correct. He writes this. Look at this. The design with hints of the latest Western thinking. And this is the thing which really got me, questioning basically, what does he mean really in terms of design of this Arktur? And fact is, I have a huge issue to raise with him if he thinks that because it carries the drones, but I mean, Soviet submarines, some of them were designed to carry the drones, and of course we have the now Belgorod, which is redesigned Oscar II class submarine, which carries not just those famous status, of Poseidon, horrendous nuclear drones, which are capable to basically, devastate the whole shoreline of any country, but it carries the submarine. It carries the submarine or Lashari class, which it sticks underneath itself, and this is not a drone, it's really submarine. The Belgorod is so huge, as are Oscar IIs, that it is capable to carry on itself basically another submarine. So, okay, what doesn't he mean then in this case, what is the Western design? And again, make no mistake, United States always was a pioneering country, so to speak, in terms of the nuclear propulsion and nuclear powered submarines, some of them outstanding actually. And again, if you look at especially on the fast attack submarines produced by the United States. I'm not talking about weapons, that's a other thing, but if you look at, for example, Virginia class, it's a great sub. I mean, excellent, actually, state of the art. I wouldn't pass my judgment on the Seawolf. I think so. Seawolf is a kind of type of B-2 bomber, extremely expensive and extremely not necessarily useful for the price, obviously. But Virginia's are excellent. Los Angeles class, when they came out, are outstanding subs. So when you think that, then what does he mean? But if you look at this Arktur, you can tell immediately that it is a Russian or Soviet-based submarine, and that is why H.I. Saturn obviously wants to kind of, I don't know what it is. Is it butthurt? Is it kind of cope, as they say? I don't know. That's the new term, you know, in the this slang, cope. Is it coping mechanism? Probably is, because look at this. And when you look at this Arktur, or you look at any submarine made in Russia, manufactured, produced in Russia, and built in Russia, you can tell immediately that, oh, that's a Russian submarine. It's all, you know, features of the design which is done by Russians. Nobody does anything like this, and it looks like anything except for Russia. And here's a small demonstration, so to speak. If you look at for example, old 1960s and early, and you know, well into the 80s actually. This submarine, this is the fast attack submarine, which was a mainstay of the U.S. Navy. It's a Sturgeon class subs, which were much improved Thresher class, I believe. They were excellent subs actually. But as you can see yourself, even conning tower or the sail, it's a classic American approach to it. It's albacore type hull. Albacore being, of course, named after the tuna albacore, which looks like a fish, and it all done for the hydrodynamic reasons. And generally American submarines are very elegant in terms of their hulls, and they are really good swimmers, so to speak. So this is American design. This is Sturgeon. It's 1960s. Okay, so and 1960s when they started to being deployed, procured fully to the U.S. Navy, and then hey, how about we go into the late 60s design of the Soviet submarines to understand the difference immediately. And when you look at this, this is from 1968. The first hull was there. Look at this. This is famous Project 705 Alpha. Well, actually, it was Lyra in Russian, which is the famous that it could outrun any U.S. Navy torpedo because it had the speed in excess of 43 knots. But look at this. You can say immediately, oh yeah, those smooth contours, those smooth lines, the sail almost go together with the hull itself. That's Russian, Soviet design school. That's Russian approach to the hydrodynamic properties of the submarines. Then, of course, we go to the also late 60s in Soviet Union, and here's another one, obviously famous Viktor-class submarines. They're not exactly albacore. Russians never really used albacore type hull, but it's still a very hydrodynamically efficient. And as you can see yourself again, that's the Soviet submarine. You can say immediately, smooth sail. And the more you go, the more the time passes, of course, you come to new American submarine designs, and you can take a look at, obviously, this is Los Angeles class submarine. As you can see yourself, clean cut vertical sail with the basically the rudders, so to speak, on the sail, on the conning tower. Again, classic American hull, beautiful hull, absolutely beautiful submarine. But it's American submarine. You can tell immediately, oh yeah, this American submarine, we know that it is. And if you go even further and you look at the Virginia class, which is the latest, you can still recognize in it its genesis of the Los Angeles class submarine. Again, beautiful hull and beautiful sail, but again vertical with a little bit of the smoothing up front, and you can say immediately, oh yeah, this is American submarine. You can immediately recognize it. Then we go back to more modern Russian submarines. Oh, they're still Soviet. If you look at this famous Akula class, you can see immediately that it is Russian made and Soviet made. The smooth sail, everything almost floats into each other, you know, and then we go to the latest, obviously, Yasin class. If you go to look further at how Russians designed their submarines, look at this again. Smooth conning tower. It floats almost, you know, into their main hull, which is, well, some people say it's albacore. It's not exactly albacore, but it's a beautiful, beautiful hull. That's latest Yasin Project 885 class. And then when you go back and look even at the thing which Mr. H.I. Saturn himself was describing about the future Russian submarines, this is the Husky. And this is this Laika class, which also was circulating for a while. And this is the photo from the Zvezda TV report about it. You can immediately see the genesis. It's a Russian sub through and through. And you can see immediately the sail. It's almost reminiscent of the Project 971, which is called Akula. And you can see, again, smooth lines, very smooth. And so when we talk about this Arktur class, I don't see what kind of Western ideas he is talking about. The vertical launch tubes for ballistic missile submarines have been around since early 1960s. And when you look at this, so what's so American or Western about it? I don't know. It is, on the outside, is absolutely Russian-looking sub, and you can say immediately that it is Russian design. And again, I'm not talking about this funny-looking drone, which looks really scary, actually, if you look at it. But point is, I don't know what he means. I don't know. That thing continues to be used by many American experts and analysts non-stop, because I don't know, this is their coping mechanism, I think. And the reason being, of course, that United States, in terms of the hulls and you know, the hydrodynamic qualities of the nuclear-powered submarines, it lost its leading edge over the Soviets in 70s. And while United States submarines remain state-of-the-art, outstanding boats, but so are the Soviet and Russian submarines. And the only thing on which United States was leading the Soviet Union was, of course, the issue of the sonar and obviously signal processing. The United States had the lead on that, which of course also translated in the technology and was related to the technology of the quieting. But since 1980s, it's not an issue. Russian submarines are as quiet or almost as quiet as the American ones, and now the newest ones are extremely quiet. I'm not talking about diesel submarines, which they are called black hole for a reason, because you cannot really see them. But the point is, in Russian latest nuclear submarines and upgraded nuclear submarines are as quiet, if not quieter, than the US submarines, and they have as good signal processing and sonar as the American counterparts. Plus, minus, give and take, there's always some niches where Russia lags, there's other niches where the United States lags. But it also puts the both submarine forces, Russian and American one, out of touch of anybody else. There's nobody who can compete in terms of the size and technological development with those forces. But Russia is beginning to basically take a lead. And she is taking lead, and especially when you look at the way the Russians designed their latest submarines and what they do in terms of the drone capacity and what those drones are capable of. Well, yeah, obviously speaking, and not I'm talking about even the weapons, the United States has nothing, I mean literally nothing which compares to modern Russian cruise missiles, and in this particular case, while American submarines are excellent platforms, outstanding platforms, you're not gonna get far nowadays with a good old Tomahawk, no matter how you try to basically modernize it, let alone with the subsonic harpoon. I mean, you still can do damage with it, make no mistake, and United States Navy still carries this outstanding, well-proven Mk-48 torpedo, but other than that, I mean, come on, guys. So no matter how beautiful your machine or car is, if it cannot go down and dirty, so it's kind of like, questionable issue. And Russia is now taking lead here, and some lead, especially in weapons, is becoming a generational. That is the thing which evidently creates a lot of consternation and so to speak, coping mechanism turns on among American professionals, and they begin to say, oh yeah, there's some, hint on Western design. Really? Planes? Yeah, everybody knows Wright brothers were pioneers of the human flight, and the United States proudly and deservedly so, justifiably, is considered the motherland, of the human air flight, and absolutely everybody knows this, everybody appreciates this. But it doesn't mean that, for example, MS-21 or some Tupolev combat aircraft has anything to do with, design of the plane. They are planes, they are aircraft, they fly, they have wings, most of them. Same is for submarines. And no matter how you try to dance around it, Russian submarine design, I mean, especially modern submarine design, since early 2000s is outstanding. And some of those subs are absolutely state of the art. So, and let's close this issue. And but just be aware that obviously what is going on today in the army 2022, and it already creates a huge response, will be obviously discussed and spun. Make no mistake, they will spin it, as we already saw. So, but just it is what it is, and enjoy whatever comes out there. And believe me, evidently there are some technological achievements which I will be talking about in addition, and Russians demonstrate them in full. And this is related to people who still discussing this baloney about, oh, Russia doesn't have 7 nanometers technology. Sure, Russia doesn't have 7 nanometers technology to produce some absolutely commercial stuff, such as some kind of the iPhone type thing and what have you, which contains some kind of operational system and ability to shoot yourself video, while you're going pee-pee, in the toilet, and then, place it on the YouTube or whatever the name, TikTok. So yeah, Russia doesn't have this technology commercially, so no doubt about it. But there are many more things which are required, for example, like this. And when you look at this, and you have to understand this, without this, there is no modern civilization. And production of servers, servo motors, high precision motors, like electric motors like that, or for that matter, this is one of the types, self-aligning ball bearings, and these are pieces of machinery which are, among many other thousands of them, which are crucial. Without them, modern civilization cannot exist. And for example, if you look at who produces same ball bearings, or for example those servo motors, Russia produces them, and most importantly, it produces it with such tolerances, with such precision, that it allows to employ them on the huge number commercial applications, such as industrial automation, and of course military, from cruise missiles to obviously building the submarines and combat ships. And again, look up who produces most and the best ball bearings or bearings, because there are other bearings which are electromagnetic and non-contact bearings. So that is a separate story, but I'm not going to be dwelling too much on it. But those who want to, they are more than welcome to look it up and understand that, for example, even 1 nanometer chip on its own means absolutely nothing, just the piece of the silicon. It is the applications and machines where those chips are used as the controllers or as the application-specific microchips. So Look it up. Just kind of expand your horizons. Believe me, the world operates not so much even on the computers, although it does, but it also operates on a lot of on electricity and electric machines, which are huge, are crucial for the modern civilization. So, but let's go to obviously serious butthurt and obviously something which is the kind of desperation. The Hill publication, it's obviously primarily neocon and exceptionalist BS crap, which supposedly is somehow reputable, which it is not really among any normal professional. But look at this, what they published today. They published today this. US must arm Ukraine now before it is too late. And they look what they say. Nearly 20 of our fellow experts and national security professionals whose digital signatures appear at the end of this op-ed agree. The war in Ukraine has reached a decisive moment and that vital US interests are at stake. Let me show you who those experts are. Some of them. Look at this. Oh, look at it. Oh, we know those experts. We have a bunch of American generals who lost all their wars and who won't be allowed to command any serious formation in any serious army. Look at this. General Philip Breedlove. We have obviously Wesley Clark, this neurotic man who wanted to start the World War III in 1999, and if not for Sir Michael Jackson, outstanding and now retired British general who actually told him to go pound sand, we would have this war. Then you can see, of course, the other guy, like Ambassador Dobransky, Deborah Kagan, oh my God, Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, and as you can see yourself, same old bunch of the losers from the neocon cabal in the United States who think so that they know what modern war is, and they think that United States can somehow prop up Ukraine to defeat those damn Russians. Let me show you what kind of expertise, quote unquote, this, well, let's call them what they are, losers. If anybody tells me that Wesley Clark is a great general, I mean, I'm sorry. So for Ben Hodges, they're probably their political generals. And look what they suggest. And let's start reading what their suggestions are. Oh my God, you don't have to be expert. Any, gamer and any, masturbator on the military toys could say the same thing with same authority. Ukraine needs long-range fires to disrupt the Russian offensive. Okay, good luck with that. The problem, of course, we're not going to discuss it now, including Russian resupply fuel and ammunition stocks. That means the US should send ATACMS munitions fired by HIMARS with 300-kilometer range necessary to strike Russian military targets anywhere in Ukraine, including occupied Crimea. Well, good luck. First, the United States cannot send those because Russia already warned that if ATACMS appear there, not only they will still be mitigated by excellent Russian air defense, of course they still can do some damage, but once any kind of the infrastructure is subjected to the ATACMS attack, if they provide the liquor, so the United States will know it because there will be some response immediately. Look what they say further. Beyond this, Ukraine needs more short and medium range air defense to counter Russian air and missile attacks. I have a question immediately to these experts and national security, whatever, strategists and what kind of air defense the United States can, short, we know what short range air defense of the United States is. It is Stinger. Shorad is nothing more than glorified Stinger stuck on the top of the Humvee, and it is absolute failure, technological failure, because it cannot stop crap, actually. And then what is medium range, whatever they want to provide Russia with. Okay, well, theoretically I can say it could be Patriot. It's long range, but it evidently works to medium range, or supposed to work. Well, let them see how fast this whole technology will be discredited and actually turned into basically a pile of metal, because Patriot Pack 3, even with the American crews, is not capable to operate with the air offense environment Russia provides. So What do they want to send then? For starters, United States doesn't have enough for itself to start with. And then what do they mean by these systems? Where they can find them? The only system of the middle range system which you can say theoretically could be approached, some French thingy which they developed to support and for the shorter range of the THAAD. And THAAD is a, well, let's say failure. They were afraid to shoot it at the Korean missiles because they were afraid that, and I quote, that they will discredit the system because it will fail. So we have this butthurt and coping and desperate bunch of creeps who want to really unleash war and who already know, even they know, even Clark knows. If he doesn't, I mean, then he certainly is not worth the penny. But if he knows it, which I assume he does, he graduated what? At some point of time the West Point and then some Army War College, maybe General Staff College in Leavenworth, Kansas. So he should know that it is over. Everybody knows that it is over. And people who actually commanded with the actual combat situations, and again, I'm talking about Colonel Douglas Macgregor, they know that over. It was over for Ukraine in April, and now that there is a rumor, so to speak, circulating that Russia accumulated something like 600 pieces of combat aircraft from airplanes, combat airplanes to helicopters around Kharkov. Well, maybe Russians will do whatever they want because they have this ability to escalate, and that's what drives those people nuts, because Russia is using just merely small fraction of its forces in Ukraine, and this could be attack on Nikolaev, very well could be. And there are some signs that Russia can actually liberate Nikolaev next, or she can bypass Kharkov if need be, because we obviously know that Ukrainian army or whatever armed forces of Ukraine are completely demoralized. And what is coming from Donbass right now, specifically around in Donetsk Republic, it testifies to it. For the first time, we can see the territorial defense and even regular VSU surrendering in large numbers, because there are evidently not many left those Nazi enforcers, Nazi commissars who shoot them into back. So, and of course, when they say, oh, there is something that, tipping point. No, it's not the tipping point. It's just the, normal development of the operation. And if they want to learn how to really plan operations of this scale and this scope, which they never saw in their life, sure. They, again, Academy of Russian General Staff actually used to have many foreign students there, obviously not classified part of it, but yeah, there were even students from, officers from Japan, of all people. I believe some American officers not attended, but at least visited there. So, but those people are studying there, so why don't they talk to Russians? Maybe they will, accommodate their interest, and they will tell, Ben Hodges what real war is and show him how to fight it, because evidently those people, those experts, which printed this garbage in Hill, they have no clue what they're talking about, which was expected. People associated with the Kagan or Alexander Vershbow, these are ignorant and, the hysterical people thinking that they're exceptional, which they are not, and they are not very smart, really. So, and that's why I was absolutely stunned with this thing. First, H.I. Sutton begins to, not imply, speaking directly, that for somehow this Russian design has some weave, remote ideas of Western designs, which I don't see any commonality at all. Then you have these experts, pardon me, again, as I said, they are not experts. And then we have, all kinds of the butthurt, basically circulating around the websites all over the internet. I'm talking about Anglo websites, but here it is. I think so. This might be the case. And I think everybody listened and read about this yesterday. This is the statement, it's in Russian, but it was the statement by Colonel General Matveyev, who was representative of the SVR, Foreign Intelligence Services of Russia. And unlike CIA, those people are very professional and in what they do. And he absolutely stated yesterday straightforward that Western curators practically written off Kiev regime, That's what SVR says, because they say we have data, and actually some trends already indicate to this, because Ukraine is written off in Washington primarily. They just want to sell it as a high price as possible. But most importantly, that was the statement of the SVR general, which is the statement of SVR, and which is, of course, the statement which has behind it all major Russian analytical, geopolitical, and foreign intelligence structures, when he stated that and I quote, "The West continues to stumble, but it still thinks, and they seem to think about themselves as pretty mighty," which of course is not the case. And I'm pretty sure that's really irritated a bunch of people in Washington, D.C., but fact is, it's irritated maybe because they feel it. And I don't talk about feelings much. I write books about facts, and the fact is that the West, and especially the United States as a global military power, is good only to bombing the shit out of the third world shitholes. And although China did sustain, let's cut the crap, couple of PR heavy strikes on its pride, especially after U.S. Congress delegation visited Taiwan. And I am on record here, China should have acted very differently. Truth is, Chinese, look at this, they are fully committed to be in this Vostok 22, which starts in 2 weeks in Russia and the Far East, and they will be hugely involved in this, as always, huge maneuvers, which will demonstrate again hundreds of thousands of Russian troops, which, and according to all those Western experts, Russia doesn't have, and now tries to contract and draft, old people, which is actually the case with Ukraine. But China is there. Hey, as I stated, hey, maybe the United States should actually apply for Vostok 2022 and learn something about the real war, not bombing with impunity people who are defenseless. And that is the basically, let's say, emotional background today, which you can find in the Western internet section of internet. And I needed to make obviously some comments on this, and this is what I wanted to talk to you today. And as always, my profound thanks to my wonderful sponsors, my wonderful patrons. Without you guys, there would be no videos and even books being written, which I'm writing now. And of course, if you like this channel, certainly subscribe to it and support me on Patreon if you can afford it. So this is it for today, guys, and I hope you like it and have the nice rest of your weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.